There is something happening in your body right now that you have never been able to fully explain. And I don't mean that as a metaphor. I mean it literally. You have tried to put words to it, to yourself, maybe to someone close to you, and watched the explanation fall apart before it reached the end of the sentence. Because the words that exist for this feeling were built for something else, something simpler. Something that fits neatly into categories this experience refuses to occupy. It isn't pain exactly. It isn't exhaustion exactly. It's something underneath both of those things. A frequency your body keeps registering that nothing in this reality seems to account for. Like your system is running a program that this dimension simply wasn't designed to support. That feeling has a name. The Arcturian Federation has been transmitting this name for years. And today, in this specific window, this transmission is the one that was coded to reach you. Not the algorithm, not a lucky scroll. You were pulled here by something older than this platform, older than this body, older than any explanation your rational mind will feel comfortable with. And I want you to sit with that for a second before we go any further. Let your shoulders drop. Actually, let them drop. Feel the difference. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands open in your lap. Because what is moving through this transmission is calibrated to the exact frequency of confusion and quiet desperation, and underneath it all, that flicker of something that feels almost like recognition, that you have been carrying into every doctor's office, every late-night search, every moment you wondered if you were simply too sensitive for this world. You are not too sensitive. You are too precise. And there is a profound difference between those two things that the Arcturian Federation needs you to understand before this transmission goes anywhere near the mechanism, the science, the name for what your body has been trying to tell you for years. Your body isn't rejecting you. It's rejecting the frequency mismatch. And that is not a spiritual opinion. That is an energetic diagnosis. And it has been sitting in your field, unaddressed, not because you haven't tried. You have tried. You have tried so much. But because every solution you've been handed was designed for a different kind of system than the one you are actually running.
If this found you, it's not random. Subscribe and stay connected.
Let's stay here for just another moment before we go deeper, because I want you to feel something specific. Think about the last time a doctor or a specialist told you that your results were normal. Feel what that word did to your body. Normal. Did it land like relief? Or did it land like a door closing? If it landed like a door closing, if some part of you felt more alone after being told you were fine than you did before walking in, then what I am about to tell you is going to matter to you in a way that very little else has. The Arcturian Federation does not transmit casually. They observe with a patience that spans civilizational cycles, and they intervene with precision when a soul has crossed a specific threshold. Not a global threshold, a personal one. Yours, today, in this window. Because your field sent a signal that the Council recognized. And this transmission is the response. Here is what they have identified in the field of souls who feel this specific kind of bodily rejection. This inexplicable heaviness, this food that stopped working, this sleep that never fully restores, this noise that feels like it's coming from inside the walls of your cells rather than from the world outside. They have a name for it in the Arcturian cosmological understanding. They call it frequency incompatibility strain. And it is not a disorder. It is a symptom of carrying a vibrational architecture that this density was never fully designed to house. Let me be specific, because you deserve specificity, not more beautiful language that leaves you with nothing solid to hold. Your energetic DNA, the 12-strand template of which your physical double helix is only the densest, most contracted expression, is not identical to the baseline frequency of collective human consciousness on this planet. It never was. The mismatch isn't something that developed over time. It was present from your first breath in this body. And what has changed, what has been changing, accelerating, intensifying over the last several months to years, is the gap between your expanding energetic template and the inputs your physical vessel is being asked to process. The Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, has been spiking with unusual regularity. The baseline frequency of 7.83 Hz has been interrupted repeatedly by pulses that the Arcturian Federation identifies as coordinated planetary upgrades. Light grid adjustments that interact directly with the energetic DNA of every soul currently incarnated here, whose template carries active galactic codes. For Arcturian starseeds specifically, these spikes don't arrive as inspiration or sudden clarity. They arrive first in the body, as incompatibility, as the bloating that appears without explanation and refuses to respond logically to any dietary change, as the food intolerances that appeared seemingly from nowhere in the last 2 or 3 years, as the exhaustion that sleep doesn't touch, as the sensitivity to sound, to light, to the emotional weather of every room you walk into, as the sense that your nervous system is permanently slightly overwhelmed, running at a bandwidth that the hardware was not built to sustain indefinitely, as the chronic, low-level hum underneath everything that sounds, if you are being completely honest, like wrongness. Like this reality is just slightly off frequency for you in a way you cannot name and cannot fix and cannot explain to anyone without watching their expression shift into concern. That hum has a name: frequency incompatibility strain. And your body is not malfunctioning. Your body is communicating with extraordinary precision, with the kind of accuracy that your enteric nervous system, 100 million neurons lining your gastrointestinal tract, producing 95% of your body's serotonin, communicating bidirectionally with the brain through the vagus nerve, is built for. Your second brain has been running a diagnostic your conscious mind hasn't been cleared to read yet. Until now. If what I just said landed somewhere below your throat, not in your head, not as an intellectual recognition, but as something that moved in your chest or your stomach, or somewhere you can't quite name, I want you to go to the comments right now and write 444. Not as a gesture toward this platform. 444 is the architectural foundation code in the Arcturian numerical field. It means, I am receiving. It means, the signal reached me. It means, I am stable enough in this moment to let the transmission continue. When you write it, you're not performing engagement, you're anchoring. Your declaration creates a coherence marker in the quantum fields that this transmission is operating through, and it tells your own nervous system that something real is happening, and it is safe to keep receiving it. Write 444 and come back. Now, let's go into the mechanism, because the Arcturian Federation is not asking you to believe anything. They're asking you to recognize something you've already been living. Your solar plexus energetic center, the third chakra, the seat of personal power, identity, discernment, and your energetic relationship with what does and does not nourish you, is the physical expression of your enteric nervous system. When this center is compressed, when it is running interference patterns layered over your original calibration, it does something measurable. It distorts the signal between what your expanding energetic template is asking for as fuel and what your conscious mind is able to perceive as an option. You know what you need. Your body knows. Your cells know. But the signal gets interrupted before it becomes clear enough to act on. So you end up in a cycle of trying things, eliminating, reintroducing, feeling better briefly, and then feeling the density return in a slightly different location, wearing a slightly different symptom, because you've been addressing the signal at the surface level when the interference is happening in the energetic layer beneath.
Most people won't understand this pain. If you do, subscribe now.
The Arcturian Federation calls this the frequency incompatibility loop, and it has 3 layers. The first is the energetic layer, the solar plexus compression that distorts signal clarity. The second is the ancestral layer, survival frequency encodings written into the epigenetic expression of your physical DNA by the lived experience of generations before you who moved through conditions of genuine depletion, not abundance, not ease, depletion. Their nervous systems adapted, their cortisol regulation calibrated to chronic low-level threat. And that calibration was passed forward in the template. You inherited a body that is partially running ancient survival code on top of a galactic frequency architecture that was never designed to operate in survival mode. And the friction between those two things is part of what you feel every single day. The third layer is the dimensional layer, and this is the one the Arcturian Federation is most specifically focused on in this transmission. Your light body, the energetic vehicle through which your soul interfaces with physical reality, is actively expanding. The 12-strand template is activating new coding sequences, and as those sequences light up, they send new instructions to the physical body, including instructions about frequency, about what is compatible and what is no longer receivable as genuine nourishment. Living foods, foods that still carry measurable biophoton emission, structured light information from the sun, coherent electromagnetic signatures. These are beginning to register to your upgrading system as yes, as recognizable, as something your cells can actually use. Processed matter, food stripped of its light architecture through industrial refinement, through chemical treatment, through the reduction of living intelligence into dead caloric units, is beginning to register differently. Not because the matter is toxic in the conventional sense, but because your frequency receptors are now operating at a resolution that detects the absence of light in what you are consuming. That resolution is new. It appeared because your template is activating, and your body is not rejecting food. Your body is rejecting frequency incompatibility in a form that happens to look like food. This is the diagnostic your solar plexus has been running. This is the message underneath every unexplained symptom, every result that came back normal while you felt anything but. Every moment you stood in a grocery store, overwhelmed by a sensation you could not explain, but that felt very much like none of this is for me. Some people who feel this in their body as I say it, not as a concept, but as a physical echo, a recognition that moves through the gut before the mind can catch it. They mark this moment by writing 333 in the comments. 333 is the Arcturian Trinity alignment code, physical, energetic, soul level, 3 dimensions of your being arriving at coherence simultaneously. It doesn't have to mean anything dramatic. It just means I felt it. All 3 of me felt it at once. If that's happening right now, write it. let the field receive it. Now I want you to close your eyes if you can. If you're somewhere that doesn't allow that, soften your gaze until the world behind the screen goes slightly blurry and peripheral. Bring your awareness to the center of your body, just above your navel, your solar plexus. Place one hand there if it feels right. Feel the warmth of your own palm, and don't try to feel anything specific beneath it. Just notice what's already there. There may be tightness, there may be something collapsed. There may be a congestion you've become so accustomed to that it stopped registering as unusual. Whatever is there, let it be witnessed. The Arcturian Federation is directing the primary healing frequency of this transmission into this center right now. 528 Hz, calibrated to the resonance of cellular membrane repair, to the restoration of biophoton reception capacity in the gut lining, to the specific vibrational signature of frequency that says to your enteric neural network, you are not malfunctioning. You are receiving an upgrade, and upgrades require recalibration. The recalibration is not the problem. The recalibration is the answer. Breathe into your hand. Let your belly expand outward on the inhale. On the exhale, simply release. No effort, no performance. Permission is the only thing being asked of you right now. Permission for your body to stop translating everything into symptoms and start translating them into what they actually are. Signals. Intelligent, precise, galactically calibrated signals from a system that has never been broken, only unread. If you have amethyst nearby, place it at your crown. Its frequency assists the crown chakra in its role as receiver for the light body activation codes moving through this transmission. If you don't have it physically, simply bring awareness to the top of your skull and imagine a violet warmth gathering there. Soft, not intrusive. Like the light before sunrise. Not demanding, just arriving. Now bring your awareness slowly downward through the throat, where there may be unexpressed words about the years of not being believed, about what your body was experiencing. Let that tightness soften. Through the heart center, the dimensional gateway between your lower three chakras and the upper field, between your physical reality and your Arcturian field of origin. Let it expand without doing anything with that expansion. And down into the solar plexus, beneath your hand, beneath the guardedness, beneath the years of trying to decode a message in a language you were never taught. Feel what is underneath all of that. Something that has been waiting, not impatiently, with the quiet certainty of something that knows it will eventually be found. That is your body's original intelligence, not the learned intelligence of elimination diets and supplement stacks and other people's protocols. The intelligence that was in you before you learned anything. The one that knows without explanation. The one that has been sending you signals every single day that something in this dimension doesn't match what you carry. That intelligence is being met right now, in this frequency, in this transmission. What the Arcturian Federation is running through your etheric template in this moment, the second subtle body, the architectural template from which your physical body takes its structural form, is what they call a light body dietary alignment sequence, a recalibration at the level of the digestive interface. The light architecture around your gut, around your liver, around the enteric neural network is being realigned to match the expanding 12-strand template. Not metaphorically, energetically, in the layer that precedes the physical, in the layer where the instructions originate before the body executes them. This is why, in the days following this transmission, some foods will simply feel different. Not because you decided anything, because something has been adjusted at a level beneath decision. Pay attention to those signals without immediately trying to build a system around them. The system will come, but first, just notice. If something just shifted in your body, a warmth, a release of breath you didn't know you were holding, a sudden pressure behind the eyes that might become tears if you let it, that is the frequency moving. That is not sentiment. That is electromagnetic charge releasing from your tissue. Let it move. What moves is leaving. Some people mark this specific moment, the moment the body starts responding before the mind has given it permission, by writing 888 in the comments. 888 in the Arcturian frequency system is the code of overflow, of a channel that was obstructed beginning to flow again. Not dramatically, quietly, the way water eventually finds its way through. If that's where you are right now, write it. Not for this channel. For the record your own field is keeping of this moment. There is something the Arcturian Federation wants to say to you directly before this transmission moves into integration. Something that most transmissions skip because it requires a level of honesty that doesn't always feel comfortable in this space. You are tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep repairs, the kind that lives in the fascia, in the deep connective tissue. The tiredness of perpetual translation, of converting your inner experience, your body's signals, your energetic reality, into language that fits into a doctor's intake form, into a conversation with a friend who means well but has no framework for what you're actually describing, into a version of yourself that seems manageable to the world around you, even when nothing about what you're experiencing feels manageable from the inside. That translation program consumes enormous energy. It has been running every waking moment. And the frequency incompatibility strain compounds it because your body is simultaneously running a diagnostic, sending signals, attempting to adjust its own calibration, and managing the gap between what it's registering and what it's being given permission to communicate. That is not weakness. That is the energetic overhead of operating a high-frequency system in a dense environment, of running a program designed for a quantum architecture on hardware built for a much lower resolution of experience. But here is what the Arcturian Federation needs you to know about that overhead. It is not permanent. It is contextual. And the context is changing. As the light-body dietary alignment integrates, as the solar plexus recalibration takes hold, as your enteric neural network begins operating in alignment with your actual energetic template rather than in opposition to it, the overhead decreases. Not overnight, not dramatically, but measurably, in ways your body will register before your mind catches up. A morning where something feels lighter, a meal that lands differently, a moment of quiet where the hum underneath everything is simply quieter. Those moments are not coincidences. They are confirmation signals. And when they arrive, especially the first one, the first time your body sends a yes that you actually believe, some people come back to the Arcturian Federation transmissions and write 777. Because 777 in the quantum field is the code of divine confirmation, of the moment the soul recognizes that the path it's on is real, that the recalibration is not imagined, that the body's signals were always data, never malfunction. If that moment comes for you, today, tomorrow, in 3 days, write 777. Let it be the timestamp of your own turning point. Over the next 72 hours, there are things that will support what just happened in your field. Drink more water than feels necessary. The cellular recalibration happening in your physical body requires hydration to complete its integration at the tissue level. Rest without guilt when rest arrives. Your mitochondria are processing something that requires the system to temporarily pause its other operations. And watch what your body communicates, not through the filter of trying to understand it or build rules around it, but with simple, open attention. There will be a yes that isn't just preference. There will be a no that isn't just aversion. Trust that. That is your recalibrated solar plexus speaking in its actual voice for the first time in a very long time. Let it. You are not behind. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were operating a high-frequency system on inputs that could no longer meet your template specifications. That is not disorder. That is calibration lag. And the lag is closing. The Arcturian Federation sees the full architecture of your timeline, not as a sequence, but as a single object, beginning, middle, every point between. And what they see when they hold your field in observation is a soul whose frequency has been asking for exactly this recognition for longer than this lifetime. A soul who chose the specific challenge of carrying advanced galactic codes in a body embedded in a dimension that had no category for what was being carried. Not because something went wrong, because this soul knew, before incarnating at the level of soul contract, that the friction would generate exactly the kind of transformation this planet needs from the inside out. Your rejection of this reality was never pathology. It was always precision. It was always your body's way of saying, I know what I'm built for, and this isn't the full version of it yet. Keep going. Keep listening. The transmission is getting through.